All right, let's see if I can find anything to play. And can't think of a really good song right now. Let's see. American latest song. So happy Sunday everyone. I'm trying to find a song that I can play right now while we get things loaded. But let's see if this works. So happy Sunday everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope all your guys' day goes well. Hope your weekend goes well. And it's time to get back to the weekday tomorrow. So, but yeah, back to my Sunday live stream. So then the live stream, then I let every Sunday. Today I was a little bit hesitant, until maybe, I really didn't know what to talk about today. So I wanted to skip this Sunday and not really have a live stream. Because, throughout the weekdays, there's always a lot of things that I want to talk about and so many things going on. The world is like a continuous cycle. But because the weekday, I can't do any live stream, of course, because I work Monday to Friday, in my regular job, Monday to Friday. So just like anybody else, I work my 9 to 5 job, and by the time I get home, then I'm dealing with the kids, and then before you know it, they go to bed, I go to bed. So especially a lot of people in Africa, I'm pretty sure it's even hard to get a hold of me on the weekday because of like family and work. So that's Monday to Friday. Hi Precious, thank you. And then of course the weekend is when I can do like the things that I want, like the things that don't really, like there's no cost to it, you know what I mean? The things that I want. So check out like TV, TV interview, and also fashion designing, fashion designing as well. So yesterday and today I just been making clothes. So I've been stuck in the house. We were supposed to have a fitting with a bunch of models for the show coming up April 22nd. But we had to schedule it to next weekend. So yeah, that's my life, that's my life 7 days a week. And basically it's just been like that all the time, But today, I decided I want to share my story, okay? I wanted to share my story because I was watching a movie, and I think that movie, I share my post too on my wall, Miss CNN. And that movie is basically talking about like the system that we live in, especially in this American society, this world that we live in. And so it brought back a lot of memories, like growing up, all the questions that we ask ourselves as children, and the curiosity that we have in this world, And then when we finally become adults, then all of a sudden we jump into this different reality that is so different from either our childhood, or we end up doing the same thing, And then once you start to understand life and see life as a whole in a different perspective, then you start to realize like, wow, I could do this, I could do that, I could become this, I can become that, you know. And it always starts by one adjective, you know, like one idea, and then all of a sudden everything else comes along, you know. So you know, from high school, starting from high school all the way up until college, you know, of course it wasn't easy, because during that time, if anybody knows how life is in America here, especially, you know, if you're an immigrant or you're like or you're a minority, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know how that goes, where you face a lot of challenges. Maybe you get in trouble, you hang out with the wrong crowd, you start doing the wrong things. You know, we've all been through that. So even I myself, you know, I wasn't perfect, you know, when I was a teenager and growing up, but I learned and observed a lot, you know, because I was one of those kids that did not have her biological parents here, you know, in the U.S. So I was raised by the system, you know, after I left my, so, and I got into the system because, like, when I was one of those kids where, like, I question everything, you know. I don't just go with what is being told to me, and sometimes it can be dangerous too, because, like, you're basically a risk taker, you know. Instead of just listening to what is told to you or not to do, instead I kind of like go against it, you know. Like if you tell me you can't play basketball, you know, then it's gonna be stuck in my head. I'm gonna be like, why can't I play basketball, you know? And then I'm gonna start judging myself, and then start questioning myself, where I'm like, is it because I'm a girl, or is it because I'm not strong enough? Is it because I'm not tall enough, you know? It's things like that. When somebody tells you that you can't do this, it gets stuck in your head, you know? Because then the more you look into it, and it takes your mind away, you start to discover and challenge the situation, right? So, like, for me, I will challenge the situation. I'm going to challenge it, and then I will know 100% me and me long, you know? Or if it's something I could do or something I cannot do, you know? That's just always been my mindset, you know? So it goes against, you know, my family that brought me here into the U.S. So it never resonated. Like, my friends were guys and girls, you know? And my family did not like that at all, you know? Because, you know, in our culture, you know, that our boys, they automatically assume that maybe or, you know, they're your boyfriends, you know? So, and no matter how much you explain to them, you know, they're just my friends. Like, why do you have to think that way, you know? Especially me, you're not, you don't have that thought already in your head. Just the fact that already, it gets in your head, you know? And then you're like, okay, you know, you're basically giving an idea. Mayom, explain, you are raised by the system. What system raised you? What I mean by that is, when you're not with your family anymore, like the system, but you raised the system, you know, mean like foster care, okay? So foster care, but you don't like strangers, you know? That's what I mean by that. So when I was no longer, you know, with my people, so it was around age 13. So by age 13, I was taken to foster system, and I pretty much just stayed in the foster system until I was 18, you know? And then I was fighting really hard because there was an American family that wanted to adopt me, you know? But their background was, they did not qualify, so they did not approve the adoption, you know? So it's my parents, go to Africa in Ethiopia, and they couldn't reach them, you know? They connect with my other families here, and my families here. There was few of my family members, you know, like took me in here and there, but the rest of the majority wanted to find me a permanent home. Mostly said no, you know. they said no because they were afraid that I would be a bad influence in their children's life, you know. So that kind of set me away. So I'm like, okay, you know, that's cool, you know. I went along with the system. So whatever home they take me, I went along with it. Most of my foster parents, I did not get along with them because, like, I just speak my mind, you know. So until one time there was a meeting that was called by my social worker. So my social worker, she was a lady from Sudan, you know. They had to find a lady from Sudan because they were trying to find the closest to your ethnic, you know. Especially in the system, they will always try to connect you with somebody that is close to your ethnic, you know, so that you guys can have like similarity of, you know, culture and identity, you know. So we had to call a meeting, and this lady was like, you know, be grateful that you have a roof to sleep on and food to eat, you know, and be able to go to school. So I was like, okay, cool, you know, I listened to you because, you know, whatever you said, that's cool, you know, but it's still not fair. There's so many things that are not fair in the foster care system. So you're always fighting, you know, constantly against those that are trying to bring you up, you know. Not going to nobody would even listen to you, even if you have like something that is bothering you and you really need to talk to someone. It's really hard to find like someone you can actually talk to, you know. But there are some foster parents, they were good, so they'll like take the time to listen, and you'll talk to them. That's why they get you something like guardian. You get a guardian, you know. So a guardian is somebody that you could bring any problems, any emotions that you have towards them, you know. So they are like your communicator, you know. So I had that, and then you know, there was so many times that I wanted to give up, but you know, my biggest determination was to get my degree, you know, from high school. Basically, like, high school was like a survival mode, you know. You have to do everything you can to survive high school. Plus, the high school that I was going to, it was a prep school, you know. So I'm like the only African there, you know. It was like a prep school. So being in the prep school, I mean, I had no issues with, like, you know, other kids and stuff. I was never the kind of kid that would get into like a fight, you know, with other people, because I was always admired by my height and my complexion. So they would call me the Black Barbie in high school. And then I got involved in like basketball, all the sport I could think of, soccer, all those activities. And I did all of that because it takes my mind away from the home that I was in, from the system, you know. It takes my mind away from that. And I would, you know, pretty much just about everything, like even play instrument, you know, play trombone, violin, everything. And I got involved into like art craft competition, and that's where I discovered a lot of my talents and the things that I was good at, you know, because I was trying different things in high school. And then, you know, towards the end of high school, then that's when I had my first child. So I decided to like fight it hard. I was like, no, having a kid is not going to stop me from graduating. It's not going to stop me from accomplishing the things that I do, you know. Because sometimes you got to talk to yourself, you know. Sometimes you got to advise yourself. And I realized that the things that I do tell myself sometimes really do helps a lot, you know. So when I had my kid, the system decided they wanted to take the kid. Yeah. Until I can prove that I'm not a liability, you know. Or that I can actually take care of my own kid, you know. And me, I don't believe in somebody else raising my kid when the mother is here, you know. So I had to go through tests. I had to go through all of these challenges in order to be able to keep my kid after, you know, my kid was born. And so, you know, with that, they finally trusted me And I graduated, got my diploma. That was like the best moment of my life, you know, with my little kid in my hand. And then the system decided to grant me scholarship, you know. So when I got the scholarships covered all my living expenses, because I told myself, as soon as I turn 18, I am living on my own. I do not want to live with anyone, you know. So I got on it right away. I got the scholarship, got my apartment just 1 month before I turned 18. 1 month before I turned 18. And that was it. You know, my friends would come over, we would hang out. Like, the popularity kind of grew when you have your own thing at that age, because not a lot of your friends, you know, have that at that age. And then that was it. Then I went to college. So when I started college was a struggle, you know, raising a kid and going to college at the same time and going back to the system. This is where you have to go on welfare, you know. So Matuga welfare, they will help you with like food stamp, they will help you with like cash assistance, all of that stuff, you know. So I knew that, you know, being in welfare, I never liked it. Just the name welfare, like I never liked it, you know. But throughout my college years, all my college years, you know, like I had some gaps in between. So I decided now I'm only going to be in welfare until I get out of college, you know. So by the time I could even see the finishing line of the whole college, this is where designing took off, became into the apparel technology. And then I decided to major in the apparel technology, which is what I'm doing right now, okay, fashion designing, you know. So I went through that, made it happen, and then I lost that child, you know, towards the end of college, you know. And when I lost that child, it was like my whole world just crushed, you know. And this is where I started like questioning God, and I'm just like, you know, we come into this world to live the best life we possibly can, you know. And like, how are we supposed to survive it, you know? And that was one thing when I said to myself, the worst thing I could ever experience is a death of your own child, right? Yeah. So once I got through that, I felt like that was the strongest point of my life. But anyway, I'm not gonna bore you guys too much with my story. Like, I don't know. You know, let me know in your comments. So I just want to share this story with you guys today. You know, let me know if, hopefully I'm not boring you guys. So, but anyway, so that was when I decided to really turn my life around, you know. And one of the biggest turning point was going back to my country for the first time, Ethiopia, you know. So going to Ethiopia, it was like, you're one of the strongest person I know, sis. Proud you called, you my friend. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So going to Ethiopia was like a dream. It was like an impossible thing. It was like something that would never happen, you know. So I would just always brush it off my head, you know, because I remember Ethiopia when I was a kid. They're like, oh, you're going to America, the land of no return, you know. And they would tell you, like, once you go there, you never come back. You never come back to Africa. We'll never see you again, you know. So whether they was joking or not, like, I wouldn't know because I was just a kid, you know. But I begged my dad, and I was like, please, please, please don't let me go to America. I don't want to go to America, you know. Because if I go to America, I'll never come back, you know. And so, anyway, so right around age 21, after I lost my child, there was a grant, you know. And this grant, there was a letter, and they said, you know, what is one wish that you wish for in your life, you know, that you always thought was impossible. And so, anyway, and so I said, my dream was to always go see my country, you know. I want to go back to my country just to go see my people, you know. But anyway, but part of my biggest dream was, because I grew up in America, right? Everything I know in my life was pretty much about America. I didn't want my kids to go through the same thing. So I told myself that, I included in the letter, and I said, if I could take my children to Africa, to go see the land that I was from, it would mean a lot to me. Simple as that, That was it. It was done. Like, they grabbed me, they gave me the grant, and I ticket, me and my little boy, and we went to Ethiopia for the first time, and it was still a dream. Just the whole process was a dream, because, like, the whole entire step, just getting inside the airplane, my heart drops. When I get in the air, my heart drops. Soon as I knew that they announced, welcome to Ethiopia, Boli Airport, my heart drops, I got out of the plane, and the sense starts to come back. I was like, oh my God, I'm in Ethiopia. It smells different, Like, the sense, even the smell of the land, like, you'll recognize it, And then we got out, and, like, I'm walking on the land. Like, I just dropped on the ground, That's how huge it was. That's how big this dream was, And I was like, and I started seeing people, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Ethiopia. Like, drop into Pacific Ocean. I don't know what you mean by that, brother. So it was like, that was a life-changing experience for me. That was my turning point, And so I stayed there. Like, my mom, we just cried for 3 days. It was 3 days. Nobody said a word to each other. 3 days straight, I couldn't speak. Like, I'm just watching. People are hugging me. People are saying hi, Some people, they would come in the room and just sit there for hours and hours and hours with not much of a word, Rumors were going around. They were like, oh my God, Jacob's daughter is back. She's back, and, she's back. Like, it's almost like they saw a ghost, That's how the whole, that's the perspective I got from the whole village. It's almost like they saw a ghost, And then when my dad finally told me his story, he thought that I was lost in the system, that I would never come back, That I would never come back to Ethiopia. And my mom, she was completely out of it, She still hang on to the hope. She said, my daughter, I pray every day, every night, that one day you will come home. You will come home, And I appreciate her faith. She believed in herself that I would come home. My dad kind of gave up, He thought I would never come back, that, because in our culture, I think there's a belief that once I that you forget who you are, But that's not true, It's not true at all. So even though I was raised here in America, and I grew up in the system and all of that stuff, I still went back home, And I left my son there for like 6 months. It was a 6-month trial. He did so good. And I brought him back. And then that was when I changed my life in America. I changed it. And I said, I'm going to work hard. One day I want to be successful, I want to live the best life that I can. Yeah. So I'm not going to live off welfare, Because when you live on welfare, your potential is limited, It's very limited. You can't go far. Because the money that you get through the welfare is only going towards your bill. You can't do anything else, And so living through welfare, you become like a liability to the government. You know, the government basically become your parents. They take care of you even when you're an adult, you know, and they can only do that for a certain amount of years. And then when that year is done, then what are you going to do? You know, these are the things I sit down and question myself. So when I'm talking the welfare, for 10 years, what's going to happen after 10 years? You know, because nobody's going to take care of me forever. I have to get up and figure it out, you know? And so that was when I really decided to get back in the game with the fashion world and just push on it, you know? And say, whoever is going to support me is going to support me. Whoever doesn't, you know? But I'm going to keep pushing. You know? And so, I mean, men do not. You must be somewhere in the midair. So that was my mindset. So I shift my mind and set my mind that way and say, you know what, just keep going. You know, all of these people may not see what you're doing, but there will be one person that's watching you, you know, and that person that's watching you is waiting for the breakthrough, you know, to help you with everything that you're doing, you know. Because as long as you keep working harder, you never give up. You never give up in what you want to accomplish in life. Someone will give you a hand. And it's always that one person that's going to change your whole entire life forever, you know? And so now I'm really at that point where I'm just like, I'm good, you know? All I got to do is keep going, you know? Because now I got one thing side. I can run a business, you know? I can run multiple business. I can do management. I could do all these kind of things, you know? So I'm thankful for my past, because sometimes our past and our history is what makes us who we are today, but also your faith, you know? Your faith. The stronger your faith, the higher you will thrive in life, you know? Always have faith and always believe in yourself, no matter who doesn't believe in you, you know? Even with my fashion designing, my community did not support that, you know? Because there's always this mindset that, oh, we got the fashion industry, we got the fashion world, you know, you're going to become bad. You're going to fall into the bad influences, you know? That's why it's important to have a strong mind, you know? And having the right people to mentor you, because mentorship is very important. If I didn't have the mentorship that I had in my life, you know, and also not trusting in God and having the faith that I did, I would have listened to my community and I wouldn't be where I'm at, you know, because your community will only recognize the goodness of what you decided to do once they actually see it, you know, and that's sad. It's sad, you know, because if your child has a potential, go take a talent, you know, why do you want to wait until things become good, until she blow up, you know? And it's not just, you know, our community too. Like it's generalized to everybody, you know, even the Black community too. In the Black community, they do the same thing. But what I noticed too in the Black community is that when they see one person that is strong, the rest of the people will push that person. And all they do is tell you, don't forget us. Because if you make it, we make it too. You know? But, you know, I'm always going to be from the community. God put me in that community for a reason. You know? That's how I always think of it. That's how I look at it. You know? God decided I was going to be born in that community. So whatever is meant to happen, it's going to happen, you know. But anyway, that's my story. Sorry I got a little emotional there. I'm not good at telling, you know, my story. So otherwise, you know, I will try once in a while. So hope, you know, I hope this encouraged you guys or inspire you guys in some sort of way. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to do so. So I just wanted to share my story, you know. And also, God be with Mayom County for the post that I just saw today. Cities being burned down. So I don't know if they were being burned down or a fire just happened. But God be with those people. So make a life for yourself. All right. Mayom, you got so many comments. I'm trying to understand what you're saying too. So, but anyway, as you guys understand, like kind of la de lungo through now, it was mostly English, and that's because this is kind of more of a general story, for everyone. Yeah, for everyone. Tea Master, hello. My friend from Ethiopia. I never got your name, by the way, but I'm still gonna wave to you. Precious Marie, I already said hi. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. So that's my story. There's still a lot more stories I could share with you guys, but this will be my start, okay? And this is my thoughts. This is my view. And yeah, going from there. So, you guys have a wonderful Sunday and stay blessed, and God would be with you all. Ciao.